county of Worcestershire really is a fabulous place to live. From the vibrant cathedral city of Worcester to the wonderful lifestyle of countryside living at its very best. At RJ Country Homes, we specialise in selling village and country properties across this glorious county. And, together with property industry experts, we will be giving you some top tips and expert advice about moving home and guiding you along the way.
Interior design is always a really interesting topic of conversation. We all want to create that lovely look in our homes, but where do we start and how do we achieve that? I'm joined today by Kate Foster from Lemon and Lime Interiors. Kate, thank you for joining me.
That's a pleasure. Nice to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you too. It's a topic, isn't it, that I think everybody is interested in, whether you want the country look, the minimalistic look, the contemporary look, the urban look. There's so many different looks. Yeah. We all want a lovely looking home. So if we're looking at achieving that ourselves, there are, I think nowadays, a lot more options, a lot more shops. We can shop online. Where do we start?
I think probably the most important thing is to move into a house and just live in it for a while and see where the light goes throughout the day, which rooms are you going to use when. So you might choose colours, different colours for different lights and different times of day. So I think a lot of people make the mistake of rushing into doing everything before they move in or as soon as they move in, which I think to step back a bit, maybe even if it needs decorating, just paint it all white to start with or something just off white and then live with it and see how you're going to use each room. Yeah. And then add colour as you go along.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. We have these preconceived ideas, don't we, of how we want to live in that. I mean, we put an offer in, we're so excited, we run 100 miles an hour, and then as you said, you live in it and you go, oh, this room would be better for this function, but I suppose it's getting it to work for you and your family. Yeah. And are we going now more, you're seeing more greys come in. Is grey the new cream? Was it greyish?
I think we're a bit bored of grey, to be honest.
Oh, what's next?
I think colour. I think still neutral backgrounds perhaps, but adding more colour. It's just a bit more fun, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? It can be. You're right. Whether it's all cream palettes or whether it's all grey palettes, it can be really boring. Yeah. And we've seen a lot of this. We've seen a lot of anthracite. These dark greys, moody greys, and where creams and golds were all really popular, they've kind of stepped aside. Is that coming back?
No, I don't. I'm not really sure what's a current trend because people have different tastes, and it's and I don't think you need to particularly follow a trend. I think you furnish your house as to how it suits your family and maybe your age, and whether you've got young kids and everything needs to be functional, or whether as the children get older and they're not going to make such a mess, that then maybe it can be a bit more designery, a bit more interior design kind of look. Older people might go for something a bit more comfortable. So it is, I don't think you need to follow a trend. I think it's go with what you like and what's comfortable and what works day to day.
And do you think bring your personality into your house? Yeah. So if we look at, we're obviously in this lovely bedroom now, we're in a new home and it's all white. Are we going white on the walls, off-white? There's so many different varieties of white. So where do we start with the palette? Was that a whole new topic of conversation?
Again, it's taste, isn't it? It's personal taste. Like you said, there's so many shades of white.
There are, yeah.
I think you test them, and again, test them in different lights and different rooms and see what works for you. I don't think there are any hard and fast rules.
No. So we've got all white here, as we can see, and then let's talk about beds. Bed linen, because I think it is important in our bedrooms that we don't miss out on those rooms. We focus on the sitting rooms and the kitchens, but let's look at beds. So we've got a white bedspread here. We've got a different texture with the throw, which is really lovely. And then we've got almost like a silky satin type cushion, and again more textures, and then velvet at the back. So is it all about textures and colours but keeping the bed linen white?
Definitely with the white, it always looks better. Maybe hard with kids sometimes.
Maybe, especially teenagers.
But add lots of fun really, and it's down to personal taste. It's quite hard to keep. I mean, it does depend on whether you're doing the interior design to sell a house or whether you're just doing it just for you. So there's a different kind of look. I mean, my husband hates loads of cushions on the bed, and we're limited to 2.
Oh, are you? Oh gosh, don't tell my husband that. We do have lots of cushions. It's a girl thing, and we do like.
We absolutely love them, but you know, all the rest of the rooms in the house that aren't being used much are covered in cushions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the beauty is with cushions and colours, you can just keep changing for the seasons.
Seasonal colours are great. Yeah. And different lights in the rooms. You could. If you've got a neutral background, neutral curtains, for instance, just keep updating the bed with different throws and cushions and things like that, and on the chairs.
Yeah. And what about kitchens? How do we get that lovely glossy look in a kitchen?
That's quite hard work, isn't it? If you're doing it day to day, maybe it's about being really organised in your cupboard so that everything has a spot.
Yeah.
And again, it depends whether it's day to day stuff or whether you're preparing the house for sale. Yeah. But it's having a really organised kitchen so that if you like the look of everything being, you know, away and not on show, then you've got somewhere for it in the cupboards.
Yeah, and maybe just having your nice oil or some, you know, you've got your nice kitchen scales or your nice food mixer or whatever that might be, cake mixer.
Yeah. So if it's photographing it or preparing it for viewings for sale purposes, it's quite different than day-to-day living.
Yeah. And I think if we look at show homes, they tend to be just totally clutter-free and everything perfect. So, like you've mentioned before, take a photograph of the room and how do you see it? I think that's a really good tip.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And things like if you're photographing, you know, around the kitchen sink, make sure that all the bits like the fairy liquid or, you know, the scrubbing brushes and the dishcloths are all hidden away. You know, maybe the things like kettle and toasters, if you've got nice ones, leave them out. And like you say, dress it with nice oils. And we put a nice cookery book out on the top, and maybe we open it on a page that suits the colour of the kitchens. Which sounds a little bit contrived, but it works nice. Quite well.
It's getting it to look lovely but be practical at the same time.
Exactly. And if you're selling your house, we kind of encourage the owners to have a plan for if they've suddenly got a viewing that's going to happen this afternoon, that maybe they've got a nice big a big plastic box that they could put all their stuff into and hide it away, so that they don't feel like they've got to do a really big clear-up job just before somebody's coming.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, especially with bathrooms and en-suites. You know, you don't want to see your Colgate or other brands all on display. You want to move, or maybe have just a nice soap.
Yeah, and have a plan. Because you can't live like it day to day. It's not realistic.
It's not. No, absolutely. No, some really useful tips. I think we all want to create that look, but at the end of the day, we are living in these homes as well, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.